horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Fensler in the morning continued to drift. He was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to yet another Bar Steward's Sunday sermon, where, of course, some national hunt racing took place this week, and rather important national hunt racing, of course, at Cheltenham. And we're here to discuss that, amongst other things. We've got a cracking show for you tonight. I promise you it will be cracking. And we have a Bar Stewards exclusive, which I do love. It won't be surprising to many, but this is a very good exclusive ahead of the mainstream media. Joining me for the chat this evening, as usual, are my two favourite cohorts, and it's lovely to have a weekly chat between us all. It is John Leng and Chris Lorne Malvo, as you know him better on the social media at Twitter. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. John's died.
Hello, everyone.
Passed out with excitement. It's too much.
I think that's what it was. He thought, fucking hell, what's this?
Not this shit again. Fucking hell.
What's he on about?
Can you not hear me?
No.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can hear you now, yeah.
That dodgy internet is on pipelines.
Nicking it from next door, isn't it? It goes in and out.
If I was nicking stuff from next door, it wouldn't be the fucking internet.
Fair play.
Anyway, just want to start off on a bit somber, really, but I think it needs mentioning. John Hunt returned to racing commentary at Cheltenham, and a special mention here for John Hunt because obviously everyone knows the trauma and the terrible tragedy with John Hunt's family last year. And to read a speech he did in court this week, obviously it's been overshadowed by the festival. Had we been a very normal sort of week, this would have been major headline news. And not that John Hunt wants it major headline news, but it would have been. Honestly, it was absolutely spectacular from John Hunt. Very upsetting. Honestly, I'll challenge most people to read it with a dry eye. It must have been incredibly hard to write. It was from his heart. If you want to read it, it's on the BBC website. We tweeted a link underneath the post where Catherine Fry initially mentioned it. Having read it, oh Jesus, it's seriously incredible.
He's a Marine, isn't he? He's an extraordinary strength of character. I couldn't do it, I'll be honest. You hope never to be in that position, but what an extraordinary individual he is. So yeah, hats off to him.
I've never met John Hunt or spoke to John Hunt, but I'd want to be friends with John Hunt. It's that simple. That's the kind of guy everyone needs. And I wish him well, and his daughter, the pair of them. I believe Matt Chapman, set up a fund for them both, and it was a great response. They had a lot of money donated, and if Matt Chapman's listening to this, if that link can be revived to support him and his daughter, I think that's another amazing thing to get behind in racing because, Jesus. John, I don't know if you've read it.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, the daughter's impact statements as well. God knows what she must be feeling. Both of them have had a situation so horrible to contemplate, and to come through it like they have, you can't do anything other than take your hat off, can you?
No. It was extraordinary, John, wasn't it? Daughter's impact statement was beautifully worded, and that's not me being glib or patronising, because that's an event that you don't get over, but you try and get through and live with. It's beyond comprehension, isn't it? He's still above ground, because a lot of people would have cashed in their chips, wouldn't they?
Totally, yeah.
Sobering moment. And like I say, if you do want to read that statement from John Hunt, then that is available via the BBC website and via a link that we've provided. And you'll probably see it around on Twitter if you type his name in. But full kudos to John Hunt. Yeah, shocking stuff, really. We move on to, of course, the review of Cheltenham this week, where, yes, it did take place. And of course, it was Punter hell.
Oh,
absolute Punter hell. This is the one worrying thing, chaps. Punters, they're going to get affordability check next week, surely.
It's going to be mayhem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying everyone, but most people will have done the spuds with them results.
They should have affordability checked them on fucking Tuesday morning. I think that would have been kinder, wouldn't it? Fucking hell.
Yeah. It was a tough meeting for all. So come on then, let's review it, John and me, and Chris chime in when you've got something solid as well yourself.
That won't be any time soon. I've never had anything solid to say, but carry on.
Kopek de Boards won the Supreme Novice pretty comfortably, really. Nice story with the owner, John, donating the entire money to the O'Sullivan family.
Yeah.
What a guy, really.
Proper.
All the prize money donated, so that was very pleasing. Django Bay in the Arkle, I thought was given a cracker by Nico de Bonville.
Yeah.
Because he said he was out of gears, he was out of his comfort zone all race, and then just let him fill up down the hill and then powered up the hill for an unlikely win.
I think if it can start Magsborough jumping out, though, he's going to be some sell.
Well, we said it at Leopardstown, though.
Yeah.
Because I think they made Magsborough the same price as Sergino after he won at Leopardstown.
Yeah, he was never beaten Sergino.
You can't win an Arkle jumping like that.
No.
And he sent him off 2s on anyway. And by the way, he has got a serious engine.
Yeah.
Engine's enormous. It's just, had he jumped properly, he'd have won. No doubt about it. Absolutely all over the ride from Nico there. Blucky's been on there. Lucky Blucky. There's no luckier punter than Andrew Bluck. And he's slagging Nico off. He said he should be dismissed.
He backed the champion hurdle winner, Blucky.
He's that lucky. I'm sorry, but I don't see what Nico's done much wrong this week, to be honest.
Well, one of the ones he got bait on must have been a bet that Blucky didn't send us in the Twitter chat. And he's obviously cost Blucky £50 somewhere.
It might have been Lalamba.
I thought he gave that a shit ride, though. I disagree. I thought it was a fucking dire ride. I think it went too hard up front. I think he lost position. He got short of room. I thought it was a pig of a ride. I really did.
The trouble was the Triumph Hurdle was an Aidan O'Brien derby.
Yeah. Yes, Serpentine.
Serpentine. Yeah. 11 runners.
Yeah.
That is just incredible in a Grade 1 event.
That's actually too many for the team tactics, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course, we get strange results. John highlighted this many years ago when he said Aidan was ruining the derby by running 6 or 7. Because then you've got something at the front, some in the middle, some at the back. Of course, if you go too hard, the back comes through. If you don't go hard enough, the front hangs on. And you get daft results. They probably did go a bit too hard on the front end. But Ponyros has just come from the back on hurdling debut and nailed them.
Always nice for the little man, Tony Bloom, to get a winner, isn't it? I was chuffed about that. I was thrilled that the smaller owner.
Yeah, doesn't have much luck, does he?
No, he doesn't, poor bugger.
Someone actually tweeted about that to you, Chris, about luck. And you said, how is this the thing? Multi-millionaire. Chuck's won in on debut. No idea what's going to happen.
No.
227 on Betfair. And he falls off the Empire State Building into a new suit.
Yeah, it is extraordinary.
All them debutants, though, Willie was having a free hit with them because he can put them away now, the ones that got bait, and retain the novice status for next year. And horses like Too Bossy for Us, I was never going to be sharp enough for that and was ridden well back anyway. You can say now he's already a large contender for that race on the second day.
We can all say we were floored by Lalamba getting beat because as a podcast we were all over it. And to be fair, we deserved to win that race, I felt. That mistake 2 out was catastrophic at that time when the tempo was increasing. Obviously, I know we've got into Friday's racing, but we were genuinely sick about that. Mayatown was the highlight of our week in the Ultimate. Nice pick there, making all. Lossymouth, the 4-6-5. John, the right decision to run there or the champion?
On behalf of the horse, definitely the right decision to run there because they bagged the win and end of story. Regards for the mating, though, I think obviously she should have run in the champion hurdle.
The bizarre thing, had Lossymouth gone in the champion hurdle, the champion hurdle winner would have run in the mares. That's just bonkers thinking about it. But Lossymouth is a 2.5 miler. I've said this all the time. At 2 miler, jumping goes to shit because they're running too fast. She's not the most fluent. You watch her over 2 miles. Give me a Grade 1 2-mile success. She hasn't got one. She's a 2.5 miler. That's it. It's an optimum trip and job done. Champion Hurdle, Golden Ace, Pony, Burdick Road, 66s, Winterfog 150s. People cheering State Man coming to the last.
Dreadful, isn't it?
Bang!
What a sport, isn't it? What a sport. Christ. But yeah, that was a very, very odd race. Really odd.
I think that was picture of the week, wasn't it, when they photographed the ITV panel as State Man fell at the last?
I think so.
I didn't know Megan's mouth would open that word. Some food for thought there.
Definitely. We'll move on to the next day. You'll get other pods doing this anyway. You don't want to do shit. We'll try and keep it brief. So the Turners was won by the New Lion. John, this is strong form, isn't it? Really strong form.
Yeah, impressive.
Really, really, really fucking strong form. The type where you actually swear at how strong the form is.
Yeah. Bloody strong form.
Blimming strong, yes.
Yeah, look at you two turning it down so I get slagged off.
Yeah.
Yeah, wankers.
Toss pots, yeah.
This will be strong. That's the form for next year. Whatever you're planning in your anti-post bets or you're thinking, that's the race, the Bearing Bingham, which is now, of course, the Turners. And no one knows what a race is called anymore because it's all bonkers in terms of sponsorship. Brown Advisory. Ballyburn. Our Jack was keen to lay Ballyburn. I think that was the only winner of the week. He took on Ballyburn with gusto, saying his head carriage is low, John. And he said that it's not the right horse for this kind of race. I didn't see it, to be honest, in terms of how Jack saw it, but he was right. And Lecky Watson and Stella Story, mentioned by Michael Cannon on the podcast. You know what I think of Michael Cannon, right? And his blogs and stuff. I just think of Mike Hammer.
Oh, the satirical private investigator, wasn't
it? Stacey Keach.
Yeah. Like Michael Cannon. Yeah. He should be investigating the ring and all these false tickets. We'll get on to that later.
Frank Cannon, the TV program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Similar, anyway, yeah.
No.
So, John, what did you make of the Brown Advisory?
I think it was a fairly average year.
I agree. Right, we move on. Coral Cup, Jimmy Desoy winning for Edward Ware. He's had some good buys recently, isn't he? He must be getting well advised by bloodstock agents, etc. That aren't rinsing him, Chris. That kind of thing. Jimmy Desoy in the Coral Hurdle, John. Any view on that race?
I thought Impose Trois and Make the Bat ran noticeably well, and I would expect both of them to win something before the end of the season.
We're not doing cross country. That's shit.
That's
a load of rubbish. We go on to the Queen Mother, Marine Nationale. Obviously, John Bon and Nicky with that catastrophic error. I thought Nicky again rode a very good race on, because sometimes you even pull these horses up because you think, oh, geez, that's such a bad mistake. He just let the horse get some air. Then to get second, I thought was a tremendous.
Is he giving you a quid like the Boimville? Because you're not normally this positive about him. Has he got it?
No, he's still Noodle Arms. If I got John Joe O'Neill in the saddle compared to Noodle Arms on Lalamba, that's what I'd do as Nicky Henderson. So when Blucky says dismiss him, I would have John Joe O'Neill Jr. as stable jockey over
the Boimville,
100%. Noodle Arms, it's terrible. John, what's the thing with Henderson and bad jockeys? He's had Jerry McGrath, he's had Ned Curtis. What's going on?
I mean, back in the day, he used to ride himself, didn't he? And maybe he looks for people that remind him of his own riding style.
It's a thing in racing. I get it. The Stone Hands Nico. In fact, a question here. Well, not a question, an opinion. D said, who's had a worse week? Nico, Hands of Granite de Bombville, or Gordon Elliott? Of course. Yeah, Gordon won from 28 runners at the meeting.
Yeah, I would suggest Gordon Elliott. It was only one of Martin Pipe.
Yeah. And by the way, that interview, you saw the pressure in his face, didn't you? It weren't just the tears from the emotion of winning the Martin Pipe. I think that was pressure built in because it's livelihoods here, isn't it? You're dealing with high-profile owners that...
I thought he'd had a bit of Botox.
Did you? I didn't notice that.
Probably the one who thought it was pressure. I thought the needle in myself.
He's massively underperforming in recent years, isn't he? The investment he has. There was talk at one point that he was going to challenge Mullins.
Has he bounced back from sitting on that horse?
No, he hasn't.
I would suggest
he's massively underperforming given the support he gets. He's a real underachiever at the minute, isn't he? If you use the festival as a barometer of success, which everybody does, he's not cutting the mustard at all, is he?
Really getting to the stage now, there's a case for bringing back the old Snotty Foster that stepped in while he was off, isn't there?
Yeah, she was good, she was. Yeah.
We're not bothering with Johnny Henderson and champion. The champion bumper this year was shit. Shittest champion bumper I've seen. Thursday, we come on to the Ryanair. No, it's Mares. No, we're not doing that. John, I need to ask you here, because you said in your questions thread, fuck off Jack Richards. What's all this about?
Last week said, who the fuck's Jack Richards and all this?
Mrs.
And
Richards,
Yeah,
little
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah.
get one of these races, isn't it? That who'll be bothered if that didn't appear next year? And I think there's enough races to get this back down to 3 days, and you wouldn't just have to fuck off Jack Richards. You could fuck a few people off, like anybody that's involved in mares, novice hurdles, mares chases, mares hurdles. There's 4 races gone for starters.
Yeah.
Who is Jack Richards?
Jack Richards can fuck off. He's not necessary.
But who is he?
Whoever he is. The race was a nothing event, wasn't it? Who the hell wanted that race there?
But who is Jack Richards?
No idea.
I need to know who Jack Richards is. I don't know.
There was a wicket keeper, wasn't there?
Jack Richards, Viv Richards, yeah.
Cliff Richards.
If you named that race after Viv Richards, you still wouldn't want.
Probably not. But anyway, us three now, can we offer any input who Jack Richards is?
Absolutely not.
Right. Okay. So we move on from Jack Richards. Yeah, we're not even going to discuss that. Cowell Potter, though, John, winner.
Oh, small man.
There we go.
Is that the luckiest owner in racing?
He'd have to be.
Not Ailes, he's dead.
Yeah.
But Ferguson?
Yeah, he probably is the luckiest owner in racing. I was talking to Hitler before the race,
Yeah.
and I said, "Watch fucking Fergie win this with this bloody thing." I said, "He's on the canvas over the price." I said, "He's never on the floor."
No.
I think whatever Hitler back to a second, and I had to put the phone down on Hitler because of all the expletives.
Yeah. Well, anyway, just to clarify on this race, Jack Richards is a haulage company.
Ah, right, like Eddie Stobart.
But why does it say Jack Richards Haulage? That don't sell your product, does it?
Could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah, we're also who the fuck is Jack Richards? We've just gone on about it. Like, we'll just say that then. That's the company name, and is that what you want to sponsor?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, it's like Coca-Cola saying brown carbonated drink, isn't it? It's bizarre or whatever.
Oh no, terrible. Potemps Network final winner owned by Kenny Alexander. Terrible man.
Yeah.
Responsible for affordability checks.
Yeah, forget that. Yeah.
Horrible vermin owner. Can't have that.
Yeah.
Ryanair Chase. Fact or foul, John? Is this the next year Gold Cup winner?
No, I think this year's Gold Cup winner is probably the next year Gold Cup winner.
Oh.
I can see Factor Foul winning several Ryanairs now, if they keep the Ryanair.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Yeah, same owner. He doesn't need to run 2 in the Gold Cup, does he?
Bob Ollinger, Fry tipped this
Yeah.
up like for Barstia's Patreon. She's a genius and you should subscribe. You should support us. We don't get support from big bookmakers.
Yeah.
We're not like other people in this game. It's time to support the Barstias. And so do so, because Fry put this up. John, what did you think to Bob Ollinger?
Like I said on the pod, he moved better than he did the year of his novice chase debacle. I was still surprised he was good enough to win that, but there was only one winner going to the last, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Did you hear though? And this is why we've got Jonas Leng as our chief analyst, if you like, in terms of paddock and physical things and stuff like that. John said years ago with this horse has got an issue. Dracula came in the paddock after and said, by luck, we found the problem in its back. And it's only by luck that we did. Now we have sorted it. But he's 10 and this is it. And John pointed this out long ago. This horse has got a problem.
He did 2 years ago, was it? Something like that.
Yeah, maybe they knew also, but they found it by luck apparently, and they've got it back right where they want it.
Yeah, Ken Pickerton said it looked very well as well. That was the seal of it, wasn't it? Yeah, along with the favourite, looked very well. Yeah,
That's all you need to know, really, isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly. That was the cherry on the cake.
John absolutely loves him. We'll move to the Friday, I think. Triumph Hurdle, we're not discussing that. We've already discussed it. It's bollocks. Card, yes, again for the evil owner.
Yeah.
The affordability check man, Kenny Alexander. That's what he should be remembered for.
Yeah.
A twat. And that's where we stand as a pod. Dino Blue won a race that shouldn't be at Cheltenham, which is the Mare's Chase. So that's no interest. The Albert Bartlett was won by Jasmine Devere. John, that looks substandard to me. Did it you?
Actually, backed the winner, believe it or not.
You didn't tell me.
Because I backed it just as they were lining up.
Like money.
Terrible, this. Honestly, it's the thing you have to put up with.
It's a Chris Poe special, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I'd drawn some money off me each way bet on Ethical Diamond in the county hurdle, and I couldn't decide whether to just draw it out and draw stumps for the week. And I thought, Willie's having a good week. I'll back this booker. And that was the entirety of the thought process that went into it.
John, you awful bastard.
I know.
You're there dining well, and by this time we're all packing the game in on the group chat. We're packing it all in.
Done with it all.
We've had enough. Lalamba,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
I'm done now. Go away. And you've done that. You've kept it quiet. Awful man.
Yeah.
We move on to the Boodles. Cheltenham Gold Cup Chase. Cheltenham Gold Cup Chase. It's just the Cheltenham Gold Cup. When have they ever named it like Cheltenham Gold Cup? Anyway, I know the way you're thinking, John. Why do you think this wins again next year?
I think it's a really, really good horse. And I think what we saw on Friday was one of the finest pieces of target training you'll see over John.
He's brilliant, isn't he, Cromwell? He's different.
He's brought that horse along superbly. He's 15 lengths down on the favourite at Christmas. He's halved that distance by February. And he knew exactly where he was. And he's supplemented and he's taken out the fab. Brilliant, brilliant training.
Are you going to tell me you've bet it?
No.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It was 6 seconds fast, right? Listen, my theory, it's carrots. I think Cromwell has the carrots. I really do.
Right.
There's been certain performances from the Cromwell yard over the years that have merited carrots. Why was Elliot ruling the roost for ages? Are you telling me this is random? Now, the money for Cromwell's runners all week was strong.
Yeah.
A lot of Cromwell runners, they were betting a lot of them really, really strong. How do you get a horse that's rated 145 at last year's Fez when it won under Derek O'Connor in the Kim Muir? All of a sudden, it's beating 177 rated horses. Will Galloping de Champs below form? How would you rate it?
I don't think he was that far below form. Everybody else seems to think he was. But I don't think we can run that sort of time and come second if the miles off.
160 rated horses in third and fourth were a further 12 lengths and 1 1/4 lengths further back. So
You take the winner out, everybody's lauding him as one of the greats, aren't they? So
yeah,
I'm taking it at face value. I'm saying winner's good.
Enough on the review then. So let's go to your listener questions, of course, because this is important to our show, because you provide our show. Steve Mustard.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Best surname ever. If that's his real surname, I want it.
Yeah.
I might change my name by default to Lee Mustard. In the light of Michael O'Leary's comment about the starter at Cheltenham, which racing personality do the bar stewards think is most deserving of a root sticking up their arse?
Wow.
We'll start this off. The starter was fucking dreadful.
Yeah.
It's the worst starting performance I have ever seen. Honestly, I was lost for words. I'm watching them come in, and I'm thinking the common sense thing to do is, Cheltenham love a fucking bend to start racing. I don't know why. They're trotting in, let them go then, 30 yards before the line. Why do you have to get to the fucking tail?
Yeah.
You could not understand his thinking at all.
No.
You really couldn't. It was absolutely shambolic.
Wasn't he a former jockey?
Yeah, it was.
Robbie Supple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
You weren't much cop was a fucking jockey there.
Robbie Supple, cap you wore at the start of your hat, right? If your brains were made of dynamite, you wouldn't have blew it off.
No.
It's a terrible performance. Honestly, I was fuming all week. The amount of false starts, it was his creation. I don't give a shit about the explanations from the BHA or him or anyone else.
No.
I don't give a fuck. The starts were dreadful.
I think you might have got as many races off in one go if you'd puppy walked an irate baboon to the start and let him have a go.
This isn't like F1. They're not in the pole positions. No. They don't get the mark. No. These are thoroughbreds that are ready to go. I understand about people pinching starts and things like that. But a lot of them races, especially cross country, that was the most partial no start I have ever seen in my life. There was no reason to stop that start just because they were coming in a little bit quick or they were just trotting in. They're strung up. They're on high feed. The thoroughbreds, for fuck's sake. What don't you understand about thoroughbreds? Fuck me. Sorry for getting all sweary and ranty, but it wound me up all week. Again, it's another bad thing for the game, employing former people when they think that jockeys know best. Oh, yeah, well, this is a former jockey. He'll know his stuff. They don't. A lot of jockeys are just divvy as hell. But that's where we are. Jack's been on about Gordon Elliott, 1 from 28, and cried after he won the Martin Pipe. Is it spoken about enough how badly he underperforms versus the value of horse flesh he has in his yard? I think he gets away with it, but there are many with far less than him doing better.
Yeah.
John might have summed it up here. Mentally, sportsmen do certain things, don't they? When Tiger Woods went through his...
Through the windscreen of his car. No, not...
Yeah, yeah, with that
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But it's the kind of thing that when you're mentally shattered, and maybe that was a mentally shattering moment as well, but I do think there's carrots involved. Put it this way, horses will run for carrots. And we know there's been doping in sport for years, certainly doping in horse racing. And it is what it is. You follow the money and you follow the yards that are in form. Simple as that. Samuel the Cat.
Yeah.
Early question. What was your favourite ITV moment of the week? Ollie with the guy with the solar-powered car windows. Gemma Collins and Rishi. No Nay Never song with ITV family. Ollie and the Posh Fashion Bird. Or Bruff doing a massive
shit.
Bruff, John, they've got him out at Crip this week, haven't they? Doing a massive speech, then announcing let's go to the Mayor's Herd when it was the chase.
Yeah, he should have been pensioned off years ago, decades ago. Victor Lewis Smith said he still, despite the fact he's an experienced broadcaster, he still looks like a best man doing a nervous speech at a wedding. You struggle to find a less natural broadcaster, I think. Just dire, dreadful. And yeah, Gemma Collins, I mean, please God. The depressing thing is that she has no cultural relevance anymore. A few years ago, she used to pique people's interest because of Towie and all that, but fucking hell. You might as well wheel out Peter Andre, really, and you'd have the double up. Dreadful. Absolutely awful. And if that's the best they can do, I don't know.
ITV's completely lost its sense of direction. It no longer has any idea who it's aiming these programs at, other than people who probably aren't watching.
Yes.
And that's the top and bottom of it. They showed a feature there last week on something called The Fellas.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody has seen these people on YouTube, they're a bunch of lads, who are like what you would have got if you'd taken the famous five at that age and then raised them exclusively on crack and crunchy bars.
Great. Sounds fantastic.
I didn't watch any of this shit at all.
It's truly, truly terrible, honestly. Words of more than one syllable were a complete test for them.
Yeah.
They were dressed in jockey silks. They looked half cut. ITV thought this is a way forward to get racing to the masses somehow.
Well, the masses they're aiming at is that key demographic, John, of people who die with the television on, who sit in an armchair and pass away, because I can't see anybody with a brain that would find that in any way engaging.
What I was absolutely astonished at, I had a look at these fuckers on YouTube. 738,000 followers.
Wow. Can you explain to our listeners when you said the fellas are shit apes?
Yeah, they are shit apes.
Just remind everybody again what a shit ape is.
Well, if you go to the zoo and there's an ape there shitting in its hand, ready to chuck it at you, that is a shit ape.
Excellent.
That's what the fellas are mainly comprised of.
So that's summed up there nicely on the ITV bit. Cashless Festival, John. This is quite kind of concerning. I've read stuff on this in terms of Billy Bunters that are coming there with the readies, ready to pay to get in, and Cheltenham are saying, no, you got to pay by card. And they're having to buy tickets off touts.
Yeah.
Yet another example of the customer always being shite, isn't it?
Yeah. This is worrying for racing because cashing away has got to be king, because if we don't, we're all cannibalised into betting online where no one can get a bet on anyway.
Totally.
We move on to more serious stuff now. Thank you for your questions so far. Affordability overload next week for Blogger and other degenerate influencers. Of course, after Blogger was displayed this week, of course, going round the ring at Cheltenham like he normally does, nothing different, having thousands and thousands of pounds on short price favourites, same as other degenerate influencers doing the same thing. I'll save my opinion till last because I reckon the two of you are ready to give an opinion on this. But I will like the touch paper with some listeners' questions. If a bloke with 200,000k racing followers on social media, many in a demographic that racing is falling over itself to course at the moment, is so good for racing, why won't corporate bookmakers, BHA, JRC, RUK, ATR, ITV, touch him with a barge pole, says Paul Fitzgerald. Matthew Forth, the impossible task. Can anyone name one positive thing that shows Blogger has improved the sport? All I hear is racked up views, but how has that improved the sport, which has declined massively since he came online? Are the views positive? Does it translate to increased attendances at tracks he attends or other tracks, increased betting from other people who wouldn't have a bet if they didn't see him, etc.? Ronnie Omelette, is it worrying we're talking more about influencers rather than the racing?
Yeah.
Rory McAdory, great guy you are, mate. I think the bar stewards should have a wee section, we was right, the stupidity, hypocrisy, and the sellout of punters and racegoers. This Cheltenham has highlighted just another bar steward warning. The blogger culture. Everyone else equals gamble responsibly. Chris, I know you've got plenty to say, particularly about Stephen Power, also known as the racing blogger. I would like your thoughts on that solely, please.
Yeah, nobody wants to see or take delight in someone doing their money or who's suffering as a result of anything in life. So I think we've got to tread carefully, bearing in mind our homily last week on sort of bullying and being aware of what people are going through. But we'll kind of dissemble a little bit and sidestep it because I think it's legitimate to draw a distinction between Stephen Power, the man, the former personal trainer who's carved seemingly quite a successful niche for himself over the last 5 years, and the character that he plays, the racing blogger. And I say that because quite a few people that have met this man say he's a very amiable fellow. One-on-one, he's very pleasant, but he plays a character that is very divisive, and that character is the racing blogger. And the racing blogger as a character is playing into the hands of those who seek to outlaw or severely restrict people's freedoms to have a bet, because he embodies everything they say that all gamblers are. So individuals who bet far more than they can afford to lose are advocating feckless and reckless behaviour. And the reason, I'm no fan of Big Corp, but Big Corp are well resourced with compliance people, and they will never and have never touched him with a barge pole because they know that the image that he portrays is not on brand with responsible gambling. It absolutely isn't. That is not the image that the big corporations want to portray. So the racing blogger knows that he'll never get a gig with those people. So therefore, the only people that he can attract to sponsor him or otherwise pay his wages are the tin pot independent firms, the people that engage him to film and create content with the sole purpose of attracting the lads, the people who believe that the game is an easy way to riches. Now, over the last few years, I think blogger's ridden his luck because the last few Cheltenhams, there have been quite a few high profile short ones, which has enabled him to either break even on the meeting or show a profit. But I'm hoping that this year has chastened these people because racing's meant to be hard. And this year, I think he's found out that the odds on Willie Mullins shots are not a route to riches. And I'm seriously hoping that he learns a lesson from that and that people become aware that race isn't a quick way to make a bit of money, because over the last few years, I think they've ridden their luck. But I do think he's carved a niche for himself. He's enriched himself, nothing wrong with that. But his contribution to the sport, I think, overall has been negative. I have a belief, before John chimes in, that he's a relative newcomer to the game. He wasn't a racing fan 5-6 years ago, despite what he says. And he would struggle to know, I would say, which end the shit comes out of. His discussions, his contribution to preview events are all peppered with cliche. Oh, it's a big strapping type. He wouldn't know the first thing about the game. Racing is a vehicle for him to enrich himself And I think his original plan was to carve a career in the media. He's pivoted. He knows he's not going to get a gig on ITV Racing. He knows he's not going to be part of a big corporate PR machine. So now he's left with pumping the message for these smaller white label bookmakers. And I actually have greater contempt for them than I ever do him. These are the real bad guys. These are the people that want to attract people that get in too deep and ruin their lives because they believe that if I bet like him, I can live that kind of lifestyle. So I hope he's learned his lesson, and I hope the content he puts out now is cognizant of the fact that it ain't easy. It's fucking hard, and he's been lucky to date. So I think he's a net taker from the sport, personally.
John?
No, lot I can add to that, really. I just hope it's been a chastening experience for him.
Yep, I've got a pretty strong view on this, and it's not down to the personality, which I don't mind him doing what he does. I really don't. I ain't got a problem with it. I don't really think, oh, you're a terrible person or whatever. I've never viewed him as that. But what I would say is, when we talk about safer gambling, which, by the way, I just laugh at that title because it's an oxymoron, is it not? Safer gambling is based on safe gambling or within yourself. How can a gamble be a safe bet? It's not. You're gambling. So it's an oxymoron in itself. So it's bollocks. These platitudes about safer gambling and everything else are absolute baloney. And they've been designed by the bookmaking industry to placate, oh, look at what we're doing. We're promoting safer gambling, etc., etc. You're not. You're a set of absolute fucking varmints in terms of trying to make affordability work, which it doesn't.
I think we'll see how well it works next week, I think.
Blogger, how you can have someone telling young folk that follow him at the races, and you can see they're all in the like teens and early 20s, having thousands of pounds on short price favs. Well, I'm sorry, but this is affiliate related, surely. Blogger obviously works for Priced Up Bet. We've seen that, which is Ben Keith. And so why is this not declared as an ad? Every time he tweets, it should be hashtag ad. You have to do on Instagram, things like that. If you promote products on Instagram, you have to promote it as an ad if you're a celebrity or an influencer. That's a gimme.
Does he specifically mention a firm, like?
He never mentions a firm, but we know
That might be his way around.
actually he does on his timeline with Priced Up Bet.
All
And he'll
right.
say, Priced Up Bet are doing a special odds double on my double today, this, that, and the other.
Right.
And so he probably gets around it with his content on the course, which is like probably separate from that. I'm sorry, but what does that add educational wise to anyone? I'll ask the pair of you. Coming to racing, you think, I'm going to learn a lot from this fellow.
Well, nothing. But the point is, he serves only to try and attract people that don't know anything about the game, that feel that by having large bets is somehow buying their way into a particular lifestyle. That's it. And it's completely contrary to all the messages that government's putting out about looking to regulate the social harm aspects of gambling. And this runs contrary to it. And this is catnip to anti-gambling lobby. You look at that and you go, how is this responsible gambling? Listen, I'm sure he's got the money to lose. I'm sure he's a wealthy chap, but it's completely tone deaf. And those bookmakers that are promoting them should hang their heads in shame. They really should, because they are heaping their own funeral pyre by using this individual to promote that kind of behaviour. It's madness. It's really, really ludicrous, I think.
But the likes of Ben Keith sorting this and obviously paying him to do whatever. You know, when you see the punters, when they're booming winners and they're posting the slips on Twitter, look at what the bookmakers are doing now on course. What are they doing? Posting the slips. Look at what we've laid. Look at what we've... It's always usually a winner as well.
Obviously.
It's complete bollocks. And this doesn't educate no one. I got into this game by being educated on the game and learning the trade and working out.
But they don't want that.
No.
Why would you want a customer base that's clued up? You don't. You want divvies that are pissed up, coked up, etc., not the cleverest, etc. And you've got a character that says, look, I'm like you, do what I do, and you can make money and wander around the races all day, not having to work a shitty job. He serves a purpose and he's very good at it. He's really good at it. And he carved that niche with social media, because racing's always been behind the pace, he identified a gap in the market. No one in racing was promoting it using their smartphone or on course, and he has trailblazed. He's got loads of imitators now, hasn't he? You only have to scroll through the timeline. There's loads of young kids going, I've had a 600 quid to win for this good thing. I get it ready, etc. That's his legacy. But is that the legacy you want for the sport? Because it's catnip to the people that want to ban it. Say, look at these poor fools. They're all going to go skint because we know that 99% of punters lose. And that's what he's encouraging.
Big bets on short price favourites. What is that educating anyone?
No.
Are you educating people about the game, how it works, what you look for, like in form study or anything? Nothing.
Nope.
It never comes anything on that.
No.
It's all breakfast, steaks, massive bets on short prices, but no education.
No. And that's for a reason. The reason is those bookmakers that use his services are cynically targeting, in quotes, vulnerable individuals. And by vulnerable, I mean people that don't know anything about the game. I think that's shameful, personally. I think that's really bad. At least Big Corp, I'm not saying they're doing it for any moral reasons, but they've worked out that, fucking hell, we don't want that kind of individual associated with our brand. And they're right. They're absolutely spot on. If you remember that he was due to do something, I think, with William Hill, wasn't he, with Leona Mayer and someone else, that was quickly shelved when compliance, I understand, I don't know for a fact, that looked at it and thought, oh, not sure about this. And that's why he hasn't secured a gig with ITV Racing or mainstream media. He's not going to become a brand ambassador for Ladbrokes or Coral or any of those kind of organisations. And now he's dealing with these kind of white label firms, creating content to attract muggy people to the game. It's the Ponzi scheme. The business model of these sort of bookmakers is sustained as long as you have an endless supply of mug punters. That's all you got to do. Keep finding mugs. That's all you got to do.
The business model of the Big Corp, for anyone that's been under a rock for the last 4 years, is stam out the professional gamblers, get rid of them, get rid of the sharp bettors, and let's have £1 million £10 bettors. Fantastic. Love it. That can bet £10, enjoy the game.
Yeah. And that's why the big corps won't use him, because he's not appealing to the let's have a tenner on, let's have a fiver each way, maybe a score on a short if we really fancy it. He is going out and attracting people and encouraging them to have really lumpy bets that by any objective measure are big. These are big punts. And that's the demographic he's targeting, not the £10 punters.
What's your view of the hypocrisy of the fact you can do this on course and have thousands and thousands of pounds on odds on shots, and no one can get a bean on online?
It's bollocks, isn't it?
What is these rules? SCV is finished. It has to be finished after this because this needs presenting to Parliament. How can you bet 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds on horses at Cheltenham on course, but yet off course online? No.
Yeah, you can have £1.12. It is nonsense, but equally, Lee, the bigger picture is the optics are terrible. The game of gambling is under constant assault in the media, but harm groups, MPs that don't know their arse from their elbows, some of them. And you've got this character pumping out content, tens of thousands of people, very popular. And he's behaving in a manner that people that want it banned say, well, all gamblers are like that. Terrible. And look how depressed he is. And the optics are dreadful. But I think the bookmakers that are using him are full of Rome, isn't it? Let's make hay while the sun shines while we still can. But I think it's immoral, personally. And I use that term very carefully. I think it's immoral to use that. He's being exploited as much as anybody. Yes, he has a jolly nice life, but fucking hell, he's ridden his luck for the last few years. And hopefully this will cause him to reflect.
Lydia this week has been tremendous on Racing TV. She has.
You love Lydia. You absolutely adore Lydia. Oh, you love her.
No, I don't. No, she's put them back in the barracks. I do. Why? Because she is a very, very, very good interviewer. And she got Willie Mullins to say that they don't really school them that hard at home, barely school them at all, which I'm not sure I believe, actually.
No.
I'm not sure I can believe that. But it was an interesting interview. But I thought she did very well this week. I was really impressed with her. But there's a contradiction in terms here. She said on Twitter recently she'll look into the William Hill SP issue, which was about William Hill laying their own SPs rather than industry SPs. But she had radio silence on criticism of Racing TV and the slot promotion and the pre-Cheltenham casino competition.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. What are you doing? So you're looking into this, but you won't look into that because you're employed by them. Oh, hello. Maybe that's us.
Well, no one wants to employ us to do anything, so that's why we can say what we like. They're all compromised, all of them.
I don't think we'd be very much good at anything, Chris.
No, not at all. No, I agree with that.
TV coverage this week. Andy McGee has been critical of ITE coverage previously, but they did better this year. Admittedly missed one day at the course. Reasonable betting coverage. Any thoughts on bookies miraculously finding £100 plus each way slips on 100 to 1 Triumph Hurdle winners to disguise the fact they had it off, Chris?
Don't know. I mean, I'm deeply cynical of those sorts of bets where they say, oh, we've laid this, we've laid that. I'm not sure. But it did seem that there were quite a few £100 bets by that winner. And I wonder how real that is. Because ultimately, those people tweeting that have a vested interest. They are bookmakers. I think AK put a tweet out. I think the Jockey Club told him to not film round the joint or something of that nature, and he sort of was slightly disingenuous, was tendencies in decline and etc., as if to say that he was recording and creating content in order to attract people to the game. No, he wasn't. He's trying to get people to the joint.
I agreed with him there, Chris.
Do you? Okay, go on.
I did, because when they brought out that Champions Full Throttle, I put a series of suggestions forward that might have made for more interesting content. And one of the suggestions was that, similar to the Barry Dennis documentary that went out on Channel 4 years ago, they actually cover a racecourse bookmaker and what he does during the course of a day at a big meeting. I think it'd be perfectly acceptable content. I don't know why the Jockey Club would stop him doing it.
Because he's promoting his own businesses. He's paid to get in, but he hasn't paid to...
Whichever business got selected would get that promotion, though, wouldn't it? Like Barry Dennis got tremendous promotion from that Channel 4 one.
Yeah.
It was an insight into what goes on.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I think my sense is that AK was trying to suggest that he was doing it for altruistic reasons, whereas in fact he's doing it to get people to visit his joint. And I think you can't have it all ways. I just don't think that in any other realm you can promote your business on someone else's property without paying to do so. And, all right, and he's paid to get in, but he's paid to get in to take Punter's money. So he's not doing it for the benefit of racing. He's doing it for the benefit of himself. And that's fair enough. He's got to earn a living.
Here's another side of the coin.
Go on.
The people running Cheltenham know that Racing Blogger is promoting his business, i.e. himself.
Yes, you are right. I can see that point.
They don't stop him filming.
So I do wonder why they don't.
Yeah.
I've always found that intriguing, why he's not stopped, etc. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
That is a case of one rule for one and one rule for another, isn't
No,
it?
you make a good point, but I just thought the comments that he made were a bit disingenuous, and I think he didn't need to say, oh, well, racing's in decline. Well, just don't mention it.
I was guilty as he is, Chris, because I retweeted it.
Did you? Oh, God, you're part of them. You've sold out. You've sold your soul to these people. Am I the only one here that hates everybody now?
Yeah.
There's only you pure of that, Chris.
Yeah, I just despise everyone and everything. You can't compromise me, only with a few quid, obviously.
Banks was doing video stuff. He looked off his Raja. He might not have been. Don't sue me, Jeff, for fuck's sake. I ain't got out anyway for your love. But yeah, that's what I thought, that Banks were doing it in the best mate enclosure, going over on Stewart.
Yeah. I suppose it's either they pay a fee to do it or they unilaterally say no filming on course. I think it's the application of the rules, I guess you're right, is unfathomable, shall we say.
We should set ourselves a challenge at this year's Dante Lay after racing. We'll see if Jeff can get up on his box and get 1,000 people to join in with the chorus as I am sailing.
I don't think he likes us.
No,
anymore.
Christ,
Anyway.
definitely not.
Right, bombshell time before we come to the last couple of questions. Of course, Bar Stewards exclusive, as we always give you at some points in the year. Kempton is to close in 2026.
Yes.
It is done. This is the last year of Kempton, the old Desert Orchid, of course, King George's, all your memories of Kempton will be gone.
Freezing the knackers off at that breeze up sale.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, Kempton is gone. Very sad. A great track, a nice galloping track for horses. Disappointing, but obviously we sold off by the Jockey Club for, of course, a land sale in terms of housing.
God.
Yes.
Well done, Dildo.
Yeah, it's done. That's why Dido came in. Let's be poignant, boys and girls.
Yeah.
We called it. I did say Leicester a bit first to go, though, like an idiot. But Leicester might be next. But Kempton certainly to bolster Jockey Club coffers Be honest, guys, aren't you a bit sad this is gone? I like Kempton
Yeah.
as a
First track I ever went to, Kempton, because I lived about 10 minutes away when I was a kid, and that was introduced me to horse racing, and I've got quite a lot of fondness for it, to be honest.
I was sad when the turf track went.
It's all right,
It's
but
sad,
it's
isn't it?
prime land, isn't it? It's Sunbury on Thames. It's perfect for commuters. It's executive homes country, isn't it? And you can see why they've done it. I hate the fact that they have, but again, you two called Dido's appointment to sort of almost to oversee the managed decline of jockey club tracks, and you were spot on. She's like Keith Joseph in Liverpool and managed decline.
It was to get it over the line with the Politico,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean. She was appointed to oversee this fire sale.
Yeah.
They've probably sold the paintings already and then
Yeah.
replaced them with
Yeah,
print.
terrible, isn't it? Because it's part of the Boxing Day fabric of society for so many people, for so many generations. That's gone now, isn't it? It
Yeah.
won't happen. So it's terrible, really.
Where's the King George then? Is it Ascot or Sandown, John?
Probably sad now.
Jebel Ali's my bet. That's where it's going.
Sell it to them.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Saudi Arabians.
Yeah.
They'll buy racing and make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Big Corp. There we go. Come on, Ali Sheikh or whatever you call
Shake my handy. Yeah. Mahatma Coke.
Yeah. Shake my hand.
Yeah. Mahatma Coke. Must have a beer. Yeah, him as well. Yeah, we'll get.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
We'll meet them. We'll delegate
Yeah.
for British racing. The BHA have no clue. We'll fly over there first class by Emirates.
Yeah, Emirates first class, put up there. Yeah.
I'll go in a super tanker as rating market.
And then get beheaded for drinking in the street. Yeah, that'll be the end of it, wouldn't it?
That'd be me. Yeah, I won't get back.
Yeah.
Last couple of questions. WV Horse and Cricket. Who is the biggest team in Sheffield? Of course, the Sheffield Derby are my team. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, is the biggest team in the Kingdom of Yorkshire. Leeds, absolutely no competition. Sheffield Wednesday have had lots of misery and deserved lots of plaudits from outside people, really, because we have had a lot of misery.
Yeah.
But we're still a massive club.
We're a big club. We're a big club. Do you keep saying that? Come on now.
Big club.
Do you believe that? Are you still a big club? Really?
Yeah, of course. The Sheffield Derby takes place on the day of this podcast recording, and you'll know the result by the time it's released. But another thing WV Horses and Cricket is the biggest team in Sheffield, for me, should be Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Team, because they produce Billy Root and Joe Root, Michael Vaughan, cricket captains. And of course, I've played against Billy Root and Joe Root as a cricketer. So
maybe that's the root up your arse that Michael O'Leary was talking about. Is that it? Maybe it's that.
That's the one. Final question for you, the producer. She says, after seeing the ITV team sing on stage post-racing this week, who is the weirdest thing you've ever seen live?
Oh.
Go on, John.
About 20 years ago, I was with a girlfriend at the time, and she wanted to go to, say, this Continental Circus in Leeds.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, against my better judgment, because I despise all things big top. I went along, and this fella came out from behind the curtain. He's got a purple robe on, and he opens the robe to reveal all. He's got his pecker out, and he's got like a Prince Albert bar through it.
Oh, my God.
And he did no more. He got two domestic irons, as you would use to take the creases out of your shirt. And he had strings on these irons, and he attached them to this bar either side of his pecker.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to hold them up at shoulder height and then drop them.
Fucking hell. Well, that's Leeds for you, isn't it?
The irons got to about half a foot off the ground before the rope tightened.
Right.
He was just turning round, taking the plaudits of the crowd.
And deservedly so.
I didn't know whether to clap or cry.
Jesus.
I think for me, it's got to be Sticky Vicky and Benidorm.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah, famous act, that.
Yeah, never seen out like that in my life.
Yeah, that's well famous.
For the benefit of those not familiar, Lee?
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. There was objects going up like the genital parts and things like that. Yeah.
I remember something odd. Years ago, I was going out with a girl that was into musical theatre, right? Which in itself is troubling. And I bought some tickets to a production of Mac and Mabel, which anyone who likes musical theatre.
Oh, right, yeah. Tarvel and Dane, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the silent movie star. It's got, I think, Robert Preston, the hit with, I Won't Send Roses. And we got into this place here, and it was quite a nice theatre. And the curtain went up, and to my horror, all of the members of the cast were 5 and 6 years old. So by the interval, she thought I was a paedophile. And that was the end of it. I hadn't appreciated it. It was like a primary school production in a big theatre. And it was just me and her sitting, and everyone else is like parents, grannies and grandpa. And there's like me, like pervy Pete, sitting there watching these very young children. She looked at me. I thought, I didn't realise we've had enough of you. So yeah, that was the most unsettling thing I've ever seen live. That's for sure. It was dreadful as well. Yeah.
That's superb.
Superb. Right. Hope you've enjoyed this one, chaps. We certainly have. It's been a very hectic week and a very distressing week for most punters. But we'll be back as always next week. That's all from us. Bye for now.